What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at Stratocasters that do not say Fender on the headstock. I have in general been a big supporter of Fender over the years, and I have always used the S-type and T-type monikers, but because of their wonderfully friendly CEO, ironically nicknamed Bud, we have lost a lot of respect for honoring those monikers, so we are now just going to be referring to S-type instruments as Stratocasters, because they're worried about brand confusion and they're suing a bunch of people. So hey, let's actually contribute to some brand confusion. Thank you, Fender. So today we're going to be checking out 4 different guitars that are all in the Stratocaster vein. And none of them say Fender on the headstock. One of them, spoiler, is technically made by Fender. It is an FMIC incorporated brand, but we'll just kind of gloss over that for the meantime. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Still doesn't say Fender, so still technically fits the bill. But before we get into it, I would really appreciate if you guys hit that subscribe button. We are at the first stages of monetization here on YouTube, which has just been really awesome and really mind-blowing that we are growing a bit of a community and some viewership here. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And now on to the video. If you are not in the loop with the overall Fender drama going on right now, I'll do a little bit of a recap. You know, before I even say anything, I just want to preface with, I think Fender is overall a totally fine company. I think the people who work at Fender, you know, the factory workers, the day-to-day folks, the people in the custom shop, they're probably all fantastic people, right? And really, unfortunately, right now, Fender CEO, Bud, is like probably one of the biggest assholes on the planet. And he is kind of sole responsible for like ruining Fender's image right now, in my opinion. So if you're not super current on this whole Fender brouhaha going on right now, essentially, Fender's CEO, Bud, such an ironic name for such a douche. So Bud, after gaining the helm over at FMIC, which if you don't know, FMIC is Fender Music Incorporated. Fender actually owns a lot of brands, like a lot of brands that you know and love. A lot of people don't check the back of the headstock and, you know, put 2 and 2 together when they see FMIC, licensed by FMIC. They don't put that connection that, oh, that means Fender. That means Fender. A couple of brands besides Fender that is under the FMIC umbrella: Jackson Guitars, Charvel Guitars, Gretsch Guitars. Lots of different brands under the Squier, obviously. Lots of different brands under the Fender umbrella. A lot of them Strat-shaped instruments. And yet, Fender decided a little while ago that they were going to send cease and desist letters to small builders building S-style guitars, and we're literally saying, like, you have to get all of your stock back and then destroy it. Like, Jesus Christ, what a great message for the general guitar community. Not only are you bullying local local and small businesses, a lot of these companies, like, calling them a company is like even a stretch. Like, for so many of these builders, it's like a 1-person, maybe a 2-person operation. Like, I know for the case for like LSL, it's like a husband and a wife team that build all the guitars. I think the husband does a lot of the actual like luthier woodworking, and then to my understanding, the wife does a lot of like the electronics and like the pickup winding and stuff. It's literally a husband and a wife duo, and you have this mega corporation worth an ungodly amount of money telling them that you need to get your stock back and destroy it. Not even like, hey guys, sell out through the inventory that you have, cease production, like we gotta tighten this up moving forward. No, they decided to go like full on with the ban hammer and just be like, no, you cannot make S-style guitars anymore, and you must destroy them. Now, really fortunately, a lot of companies, and by a lot, like pretty much all of the companies, have kind of raised their middle finger to Fender, right? And has really been doing a great job at fighting back. Thomanns over in Germany, they're slapping back. LSL is slapping back. PRS is slapping back. The list just kind of goes on and on for all these companies who got these cease and desist letters, and really fortunately they're fighting them. Because here's the other thing that a lot of people, maybe don't know if you're not following the story like too terribly closely. So this is all over the Stratocaster or the S style body type, right? We're not even talking about the headstock for Fender. We're literally talking about just the body shape of the Stratocaster, which was already decided in the early 2000s in a US court that, hey, the Stratocaster, it's a public domain body shape now. It's a generalized body shape. When most pedestrians, like if you tell a child, draw me a guitar, they draw something that looks like a Strat. Like that is just kind of embedded in a lot of our pop culture brains that Stratocaster equals electric guitar, right? I know Les Paul's also the big one, but 9 times out of 10, if you ask someone to draw or think about a guitar, they're usually thinking about a Stratocaster, right? And once again, I've nothing but love and respect for the builders and all the actual day-to-day employees over at Fender. I own a handful of Fenders. One of the guitars that we're going to be talking about a little bit later today, it is not technically, it is under the FMIC umbrella. It is a Fender Music Incorporated instrument, but it still doesn't say Fender on the headstock. So it, another fun asterisk of a guitar on one of our list doodles that we got going on. But it's just been really disappointing as a guitar fan, and as a hyper neurodivergent nerd like myself who really likes to invest time in like getting to know companies' histories and like the people behind it, and like gaining all this like introspective knowledge about it, and then to kind of see this like monolith that you've built up in your mind as being this like almost godly like figure that can do no wrong, or oh, it's Fender, the legendary instrument maker, oh, Eric Clapton, oh my God, oh, Jeff Beck, oh, ooh, Jimmy Page, oh. And then when you literally have some a-hole named Bud just taking a hot dump all over that history and legacy, it can be really upsetting. It can be really upsetting. And so I've been pretty intentional with hiding, not hiding, but I've been really intentional with not playing any of my actual Fender instruments. Like I do own a handful of proper Fenders, and I'm just not playing them on stream. I'm not posting social media content with them. I have a couple of old cover videos. One that uses my vintage 80s made in Japan Telecaster, which it's like, it's such a sweet guitar. It's so nice. It was made in '89 over in Japan in the Fuji Jingaku plant, I believe, and it's one of the best sounding guitars that I own. It's an absolute ringer. I've had it for years now. God, like well over like 15 years. God, I'm old. God, time flies. Oh, that's horrifying. That is horrifying to think of that is probably older than a lot of people watching this. Anyways, I've been overall just trying not to showcase my Fender guitars on stream and on social media right now, and I know that there's a lot of people who are kind of joining the general protest. Even a lot of kind of pedestrians have been taping over their Fender headstock logos, or have been like in mass kind of like selling off a lot of their Fenders to buy other guitar brands that are S style. And I keep saying S style in quotes like that because that's what we've all been trained to do in the guitar industry, right? Is we've always tried to be like respectful to Fender, right? Like all these builders and consumers, we've been really freaking respectful to Fender. Like, I one of the whole kind of crutches of this lawsuit is that when people see a guitar that's shaped like a Strat, but it doesn't say Fender, it's gonna make people really confused. It's gonna melt people's brains. And it's like bullshit. Bullshit, man. There's been copies of Strats like since the mid 60s. For sure in the 70s. We had all the Japanese stuff flaring up in the 70s, man. All the super shred stuff in the 80s. All the modern stuff. All labeled as S style. We all have been saying it. We haven't been saying, oh, I'm going off to buy this Sir Stratocaster. No, we've been saying S style. We've been saying S type. We've been doing the things to make sure that there isn't brand confusion in the marketplace, while still being able to, produce and honor this legacy to Leo Fender for the Stratocaster, which in my opinion, I think the general Strat body and the overall design of the Stratocaster, to me, it is kind of the perfect guitar, right? I own a lot of guitars. I think I'm up to like 15 or 16 or 17, somewhere between 15 and 18. Somewhere between there. Not sure where. But we own a lot of guitars, and a lot of them are S-type or kind of Strat style instruments, right? And funny enough, right now, none of my S-style instruments say Fender on the headstock. And the reason being is because I haven't really been too terribly impressed with a lot of modern Fender manufacturing. I'm kicking myself for not making a video on this like 5 years ago when I was trying to do my initial push to start YouTube, because people have always told me that I'm a Fender hater, but like I'm a Strat dad. I love Strats. I listen to blues dad music a lot. I love Eric Clapton. I love Jeff Beck. John Mayer's great. We love classic S style guitar tones. We love the way they feel. I mean, just the Strat is such a damn comfortable body. Like the way that it contours, the way that the belly cut, just like fits right in. It always feels like a nice glove, like a perfect fit against the body. The way that a lot of, S-style necks are constructed, they've just always felt really, really nice and proper in my hands personally. And then having the addition of, in some cases, a solid tremolo, in a lot of cases, a not so solid tremolo, which is one of the reasons why Fender, I think hasn't been, on top of the ball with kind of being the number one Strat style producer in a while, is because a lot of their guitars just don't stay in tune because they're using their really crappy in-house bridges for a really long time. But whatever. It's just a buzzkill to see, man. It's just a buzzkill to see, because all these builders, like I was harping on, like all these builders, they've been really respectful to the Fender brand. They've been saying S type, S style, T type, T style guitars for like all of these manufacturing processes, but for all of these manufacturers, because if you say that you're making a Stratocaster but it's not a Stratocaster, then like rightfully so, like sue those people. Like Fender, go like Fender, if there's like AliExpress a-holes making, legitimate knockoff, American looking Fender Stratocasters, and it says Fender Stratocaster on the headstock, it's like, yeah, go sue those people into oblivion. That's your literal mark. That's your name. We get that. But it's like, okay, so we make a new car shape that people like, and like now we can't have any cars reminiscent of that shape. It's stupid. It's stupid. And especially with music and art, like music and art is this music and art is just this like amalgamation of like all of our past experiences, all of our preferences, kind of building and culminating into what we are, right? It's a sum of parts adding and adding to form something new over time, right? Like that's how we have overall different genre shifts throughout the era. It's building blocks from something. Even if some ultra hipster wants to say like, no, this is like the newest thing. We're like doing all these things that have never been done. And it's like, no, you probably stole from X, Y, and Z, pasted them together, sprinkled some of this on top, morphed it. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't look anything like those things anymore. But you can still see, a commonality through the tones, the theory, the structure behind it. Even the ultimate hipsters who are like, oh, it's so avant-garde. It's like, okay, but you're still following like a standard pop structure of like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. That was popularized by pop bands, so you stole structure from a pop band at some point in time, at least, my guy. Like nothing. It bums me out to say this, being a creative person, but like truly nothing is original. There's no such thing as true originality, because unfortunately we're all, grown up as observers. We're observing things in our day-to-day life. We're observing patterns. We're observing people. We're digesting media. We're digesting brands. We're getting all this stimuli, and it imprints on you. And whether you're conscious of it or not, it is happening, That's why, in my opinion, a lot of the most successful artists are usually ones that are the most, maybe not humble. Humble might not be the right word for this, but that's why so many artists that wear their influences on their sleeves tend to be really successful, because they know what they are, they understand where they come from, they know what they're adding on top of the sauce. It's like it's the difference between a chef who knows their recipe versus just like a chaotic neutral gremlin who can just make shit together out of nowhere, which honestly is kind of me in the kitchen, but I digress. So yeah, let's talk about some guitars that are Stratocasters, but they don't say Fender on the headstock. So let me grab my first guitar. This is also just a fun way to show off some guitars, I guess, and play some of these bad boys. So let me grab guitar number 1. Our first guitar that we're going to be taking a look at, our first Stratocaster guitar that doesn't say Fender on the headstock, is from the fine folks at Exotic Guitars. This is the XSC1. A very, very fun example. She has a very, very, very gorgeous roasted flame maple neck. With some pieces of flamed and quilted maple, it's like it needs to be in like the perfect lighting for it to pop. This thing is just like stupid. Just stupid gorgeous at every single angle, and the irony is that you don't even see it from the front, except on the headstock a bit. Headstock is so gorgeous on this guitar. Focus on the headstock, not me. This Exotic XSC1, made by the fine folks at Exotic. I think a lot of people, not a lot, I think most people know Exotic from their line of pedals. One of the most successful pedal companies, and like one of the OGs as well. People sleep on how long Exotic's been around, and how many awesome pedals they've made over the years. The BB preamp, the AC boost, the RC boost, the compressors, the SL drives. A lot of really, really great staples found on a lot of professional musicians' boards. But a lot of people have been sleeping on the fact that they actually make really awesome guitars and really awesome basses. I'm kicking myself that I didn't buy one sooner because I think they're not making these particular basses anymore, but they're Travis Carlton bass. Travis Carlton's the son of Larry Carlton. Wicked bass player in LA. Those exotic basses just look and sound so incredible, and they're getting harder and harder to find. But the fine folks at Exotic have been making these guitars in, I think, Van Nuys, California. It's definitely in Southern California because I had a couple of friends that I went to college to. I had a couple of friends that I went to college with who ended up working at Exotic, and this guitar, some of the finish work was actually done by one of my friends. Shout out Sarah, awesome bass player over at Musicians Institute, and then also a super skilled luthier. I think they worked on the paint and some of the neck finishing details on this guitar. So that's also just a fun thing that makes me resonate with this guitar even more, is knowing at least one individual who put a little bit of their sweat and time into making this fine instrument. Really, really makes you feel a little bit more connected to the instrument itself and less about the concept of the instrument, like a lot of these like really, really big box brands are. So what's this guitar trying to be? What's kind of the mission statement with this guitar, and why are we talking about it? Well, obviously it is a Stratocaster style body. We got all of the typical traditional looking points that we would see on a Stratocaster. Upper horn, lower horn. We got the contours all over the place. We got the nice belly cut. We got the arm carve with this traditional block heel, none of the fancy ultra cutaway stuff, but then we do have nice bougie flamed maple neck, a slab cap on the rosewood fingerboard, which is really, really, really nice, and then 3 true single coil pickups with a 6-screw tremolo system. For people who are familiar with the general Fender catalog and the history of Fender, what this guitar is trying to be probably sticks out a lot, but this is Exotic's kind of prime example of the early 60s Fender Stratocaster, which was the alder body, fully contoured, maple neck, slab Indian rosewood board, 3 single coils with kind of like a moderate output. Fenders in the 50s, like their 50 style Stratocasters, a couple of major differences. They had a maple board instead of a rosewood board. The pickups were a little bit weaker, not by like a mile or anything, but they were a bit weaker, so they do overdrive amps a little bit, not a little bit. They overdrive the amps quite a bit differently. It does hit the front end of the amp pretty substantially differently. But so this is really trying to be like a prime example of an early 60s Stratocaster, and I just think Exotic hits all the marks with it. You know, I think the headstock design that they came up with for these, I think it's a really nice, attractive looking headstock, right? Has a little bit of kind of like a beaky look to it, I've heard some people say, but I think it's overall a really nice, attractive headstock. It does the nod to what it is, which is a Stratocaster, but it is different, and I personally like it. It reminds me a lot of like Sir and some other big companies, which we might be talking about a little bit later. Another really cool thing about this guitar is the fact that Exotic is winding their own pickups as well. These aren't, you know, OEMs or from another manufacturer. They're winding all of these pickups in-house. They're also making their own saddles in-house, these raw vintage saddles, and they even manufacture their own springs, these raw vintage springs. And this is gonna sound crazy, but their springs sound really good. a bit of a tangent, but hey, this is just a rambling live stream, right? For anyone who wants to see all the bonus crap, the springs in the back of your guitar, they really do matter, because some springs you can like hear the boing of the spring through the pickup, especially if it's like an unshielded single coil, or if it's like a really high gain humbucker. That's why a lot of metal cats that have Floyds and stuff, they specifically buy these. I forget who makes them, but there's a spring manufacturer who their whole shtick is that they make the quietest springs for guitars, so you don't get that resonance transfer. Or a lot of cats will also just like put like a piece of foam wedged underneath, or like a sponge wedged underneath, just so that those aren't rattling, because they do rattle. They are springs, right? For anyone who doesn't know, that's how OG reverb in guitar amps is made. It's a spring reverb tank. A lot of people are like, spring reverb, what does that mean? It's literally a freaking box with a couple of springs in it, and the springs vibrate, and then you send that mixed back in with your original signal, and that creates the illusion of reverb through the spring vibrations, or through the spring vibrations. It's hard to talk sometime good, Shout out. But yeah, really, really good hardware across the board. Really, really, really love the pickups. The neck profile on here is really, really comfortable and satisfying to play. It has what they call their SRV contour, which to my understanding, it's like a little bit of a teardrop shape. It's like a little bit thicker on the bass side, and then it tapers off. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, but I'm not like one of these like huge deep dive like SRV cats. Like I know a lot of people like who's that? Who's that young British dude? Reese something? Burnin' guitar player. Like, oh god. Absolutely killer. I'm sure he'd know the exact lowdown on the Stevie profile. But allegedly this is kind of the Stevie teardrop profile carve. I just find it really, really comfortable. It feels really, really great in all positions across the neck, whether you're comping chords or you're doing some shreddage. So let's get this thing plugged in and do a little bit of playing instead of just freaking yapping all the time, man. We have the traditional 3 single coil pickups with a 5-way blade switch. In our first position, it's the typical Fender wiring, right? In position 1, bridge only. Position 2, 2 pickups. Position 3, middle pickup. Position 4, front and middle. Position 5, front only. And this is pre-made with the mod, because back in the day, Fender decided, hey, this super shrill bridge pickup, don't need a tone knob. We'll have a tone knob for the neck, a tone knob for the middle, and fuck the bridge. The bridge can just be raw dogging it. And it's like, hey, that's probably not a great idea, because that's the most piercing pickup. So this is the mod version, which is now kind of just the standard wiring, where our tone knob in the middle is affecting our middle and our neck, and then our tone knob down here is just affecting our bridge, which is really, really nice, because with a lot of Strats, when you're in 5th and 4th position, you want to have like all that high end and like chime coming through, right? You want to have that chime coming through, but then if you go down to the bridge pickup with the treble completely up, which still doesn't replicate there not being a tone knob, because when there's not a tone knob, it's even more direct, because you're getting zero bleed, zero capacitance sound. Like, it's not bad, but once we get like a level of drive on, it can sometimes get a little bit harsh, So if you just need to kind of warm it up, it's nice to be able to just bung that bridge tone down by just a couple of notches. Just to get, a little bit more subtle in the mix, but then you can bring that bad boy all the way up. just to get that little extra cut if you are soloing, but it is nice to be able to have that control to kind of mellow down, especially if you are playing with the singer and not just by yourself. It's good to not step on the singer's toes and for us to actually, be mellow and in the mix and whatever. So here are the clean tones with the Exotic XSC1 starting on position 5, clean with a little bit of compression. Beautiful neck sound, beautiful neck pickup. Position 4, classic funk. Position 3. Position number 2, Gilmore's fave. Position 1, that bridge pickup. And now getting our dirt examples on. Taking the compressor off and putting the Jan Ray back on. And now going in reverse. Position 1. Ooh, that bridge pickup sounds so good under gain. And that was with the tone full up as well. We didn't even sweeten the tone up, sweeten the tone up by rolling it down a little bit at all. Position 2. Position 3 on the Exotic. Position 3 so much. There's I would keep saying, but it really is that nice balance between the middle and the bridge that a lot of people sleep on. People sleep on that position 3. Position 4. And finally, position 5, our neck pickup all by itself. So yeah, our first Stratocaster that doesn't say Fender on the headstock, once again, ooh, the good old Focus, the good old exotic XSC1. Really, really great example of a 60s style Stratocaster. And yeah, you can occasionally find these for a pretty darn good steal used on reverb. Honestly, I have a funny story of how I acquired this guitar. And I'm on the fence about saying the story or not, but it's funny. But I don't. It involves a couple of competing companies, and we'll just shut up now. Let's go grab guitar number 2. Ooh. Guitar number 2. The mighty, the Sir Classic S Antique. Ooh. Now, I will fully disclose the exotic that we just saw. A lot of the wear from that was a relic job. Most of the wear from that was a relic job. Where on this guitar, all of the wears from myself. I got this guitar back when I was still in college at the Musicians Institute, and being a Musicians Institute student gave us like a one-time 40% off a Sir purchase, which was like freaking nuts and so rad for a college student to be like, especially a music student, to be like, oh man, like we're paying out the wazoo for tuition, but hey, we get 40% off a frickin' Sir. So I picked this thing up from the LA Bass Exchange and Amp Shop with that discount back when I was in school, and we've been playing on this fine Sir ever since. Really, really, really great guitar. You'll find a good amount of similarities between this guitar and the exotic that we just saw. It is very much so in the 60s Stratocaster vein. Alder body, maple neck. This one's still a roasted maple neck. I'm not sure if I mentioned the exotic was roasted, pretty flamey, but this one, a little bit more of a plain neck. It does have this really fun character of a wood pattern right here, which, I don't know, there's something about this just like little tiny piece of flame right here, which conveniently is, floating around. See, very much so in these 60s Stratocaster vibe. Alder body, slab rosewood Indian fingerboard, maple neck roasted in this case. We do have now a little bit of kind of modern comfort features going on. We do have this little additional kind of scoop here, and the heel is also kind of planed down this way a little bit, so it's not a complete flat block. It's not sculpted like your super modern, like ultra access guitars that you'll see around a la Ibanez, but still you get Get a little bit of extra cutaway here. You get a little bit of kind of angling down here, which does help when you're getting up towards the heel block as well. The really big distinction with this Strat versus the other is the fact that we are now in an HSS configuration. So we have a humbucker in our bridge. So you'll hear these being touted as HSS, a hum single guitar, because we have a humbucker, a single versus a single, right? So we got that humbucker down here in the bridge. Still have our master volume, our tone control for our front and middle pickups, our tone control for our bridge exclusively, and we have a 5-way wired exactly the same. Position 1, bridge. Position 2, boom. Position 3, middle. Position 4, boom. Position 5, boom. Super straight ahead. But with the HSS stuff, HSS guitars, I feel like they got a lot of hate for a while, and people are finally coming around on the fact that they're freaking awesome. Like they're honestly just like one of the best like workhorse guitars that you can own. There's always the classic argument of like, oh, what's the most versatile guitar if you only own one? A lot of folks will say a 335, which great shout. I do think you can cover like pretty much all grounds that you need on a 335 as well. But there's something about the spankiness of a Strat that you don't really get out of the 335, right? It always has that little bit of mellow airiness. So for me, when I've needed a workhorse guitar, which is why I picked this up when I was in college, and when I was going around doing a bunch of hired gun work, a lot of studio sessions, playing for just like a variety of people and styles constantly. This was the guitar to bring because of the versatility. If you need to be rocking out, you grab that bridge humbucker. You're rocking out all day long. You're not getting cycle hum, so you can get up and do like some metal stuff. The pickups are pretty low output on this guitar as well, so it's not going to be the most crushing, brutal metal tone, but it's still a PAF style humbucker, so it still is giving you some nice crunch and out of it. And the single coils are true single coils. These are the ML, the old Mike Landau signature pickup. So it's like, hey, this guitar, it's like, it's honestly, it's kind of a Landau signature without being a Landau signature, right? I forget what the whole story was with Sir and Landau. As far as like using their names, because I don't think they call them up. Whatever. But this is pretty much the Mike Landau, the Mike Landau signature, with the HSS, the SSV Plus, which is their PAF style, their single screw, and then the ML pickups. Super versatile guitar overall. I will say that the single coils on this guitar, they're very good, but I do think that the single coils on the Exotic just have a little bit more of that classic Strat kind of glassiness and like nice kind of sparkly top end. These are a little bit on the darker side. You can still get them to spank up a lot, and especially dialing in the height of the pickups and the slant really helped. That was honestly a big game changer with this guitar, to get it into a little bit more of that glassy sounding camp. Bit of a hardware difference. It still actually is using a Goto tremolo, but instead of the traditional 6-screw variant, this is the more modern 510 style bridge. So it's the 2-point knife edge tremolo as opposed to the 6-screw flat. Which does mean that we do have a little bit of space for pull-up on the bar, where with the other one, it usually likes to sit pretty decked. So you can do some whammy pull-ups with this guitar, which is nice, but the trade-off is that it does make tuning stability a little bit hairier. If you break a string live, you're pretty screwed. You can't really fight through the rest of the song, which is what it is for that little extra warblability. So yeah, here is the Space Dandy ending theme in all of our positions, starting with position 5, neck pickup only. Position 4, Dandy. Position 3. That position 3 sounds really good, honestly. A lot of people sleep on position 3. Moving on to position 2. And then finally, position 1, our bridge. This is going to be quite a different sound since we've only heard single coils so far today, and this is our first humbucker being played. Nice. So that's all of our clean positions with the 76. And now we will get our Janbray back on. So here is position 1 with some dirt. So good old Sir Humbucker. Sounds so good. I love the way this bridge humbucker sounds so much. It just sounds like some good old rock and roll, man. You know, it's open, it's clear, but it's compressing in a really nice way that it sounds thick and not shrill. Yeah, Sir John, sir, you beautiful, beautiful human making beautiful, beautiful instruments and wonderful, wonderful pickups. Wonderful, wonderful pickups. Oh, position 2. With the Jan Ray. Nice and quacky, good tone. Position 3. Slept on sound right there. Slept on sound. Position 4. Finally, position 5 with the drive. Ooh! Ooh! I love how this guitar sounds. I love how this guitar sounds so much. I might have a bit of bias towards this guitar on kind of an emotional front. A bit. This really was like my workhorse guitar for so many, formidable years throughout college and gigging around Hollywood. And as you can, maybe tell, like just talking about this guitar, and all the gigs that we've played and all the hours of practicing and shredding, and pretty darn sure that I did my my college, my final piece for college on this guitar, where we had to do a showcase of 3 original songs. So yeah, this guitar's been through the ringer with me. It's been all over the country. It's been in a ton of recording studios. It has been on stage. It has so much blood, sweat, and tears all over her. And yeah, the good old Sir Classic S Antique. I know I said Stratocasters that don't say Fender on the headstock, and while this is definitely a form of a Stratocaster, most people will know this as being a quote-unquote super Strat. And yes, this company is owned by Fender Music Incorporated, but it still doesn't say Fender on the headstock. And not a lot of people put 2 and 2 together that they own it. And yes, I am talking about the good old Jackson. Whoa! Get that focus on that headstock. Boom. We got the lovely Jackson American Virtuoso, which is I think it's just what they're calling their new dinky models that are made in the States. But for all inclusive purposes, it's a Strat or a super Strat, right? We got an alder body. Granted, now we only have 2 pickups instead of 3, but we got 2 humbuckers, still with a 5-way switch, so we got a lot of tonal options there. 1 volume and 1 tone, which, sometimes it's like it'd be nice if there was another tone knob on here for kind of us fusion-y cats who like a really warm bridge tone but still want a nice bite and clarity out of the neck pickup. But that's fine. But still, alder body. We got 2 pickups instead of 3 now. 5-way blade selection. Bolt-on maple neck. This has a pretty crazy 5-piece maple neck, which is pretty sweet. Instead of an Indian rosewood board, we have this really, really nice slab streaked ebony, and it has a Floyd on it as opposed to a Goto style bridge. But yeah, it's still, for all intents and purposes, like it is a Strat. It just doesn't have the pickguard and kind of some of the styling characteristics, but it's the same shape. It's the same kind of overall aesthetic. It's kind of the same vibe. And one of the nice kind of more modernized features with like these Jacksons stuff, much like the Sir, we do have this like ultra like contouring down here for the upper axis. This does now have some of our most extreme cutaways for getting into the heel block as well. So just a lot of really nice comfort features. We have the 2 humbuckers now as opposed to the 3 single coils. So our 5-way blade is doing a bit of different work here. When we're down in first position, we have the bridge pickup completely by itself. We get that. When we are in position 2, we have the split coils, and I believe it's the south and the north, I think. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's a different tone. So in position 1, we have our bridge pickup by itself. In position 2, we have both of the pickups split. In position 3, we have both of the pickups but full on together. In position 2, it's the 2 pickups split again, but it's a different combination of the different poles. So it just has a little bit of a different flavor to it, which kind of, it emulates that different mid-range quality that like position 2 normally has just by selecting which coils are active. And then position 5 is our neck humbucker all by itself. So similar layout, but also a very different vibe, right? We have the pointy headstock, which, yeah, a lot of people associate guitars like this more with like metal and things, that's for sure. But, good guitar is a good guitar is a good guitar, So let's put this guitar through its tonal paces real quick. We will start off with the clean tone with the 1176 compressor on yet again, starting in position 5. And remember, for position 5, we now have the full neck pickup all by itself. So here's a little space dandy on the Jackson. Really nice sounding. Moving on to position 4, which is both pickups together in parallel. Once again, I forget the exact combination of the coils, but it is to emulate that position 4 Strat thing. Because this is a Strat, it just doesn't say it. Really nice. It has that quackiness that is kind of known for in the position 4. It's scooping it out a little bit. It still is more nasally overall than a true HSS or SSS position 4, right? It has a little bit more kind of vowel-ness to it because they are both, on the higher output side of humbuckers, but it still has that nice snap and that nice vibe to it. Moving on to position 3, both pickups together in full. This is kind of your position, this is like your classic like middle position on like a Gibson kind of a vibe, but we only have a single volume and a single tone for it. Nice, spanky, but full. Position 2, both pickups again, but different coil combination split. Really bright and spanky in this position. Super. And now the bridge pickup all by itself. I actually haven't played much direct funk with the bridge pickup only, so I'm actually interested to see how this sounds overall. Because this is a JB in the bridge, and the JB has this like super aggressive mid-range, but it's also like a pretty dark pickup. So let's see how this sounds totally cleaned up. So we have some similarities to the other two guitars that we just checked out, but also a lot of differences, right? Because, I mean, fundamentally, this is a pretty darn different guitar, but it still has the bulk of the same DNA. Having the two humbuckers definitely changes, like, the overall mid-range characteristic on all the positions, even the split positions, right? And, you know, none of these positions sound like the other Strats in any of the positions, in my opinion. The 2 and 4, it's like it's trying to do the Strat thing, but it's also not, because it is doing its own completely different thing with how it's actually being split, right? So you can either do the direct comparison of, does this sound like a Strat in all of our positions, or you can look at it through the lens of, like, it's the same DNA, but it's overall a different structure and sound, and kind of being cool with that. I overall do find that the different pickup combinations on this guitar do lends itself to being really versatile across the board. You can get a ton of tones in the position 2 and the 4, even though there's a lot of similarities, just like the position 2 and 4 on the other Strat offerings with single coils. It's just a different, more kind of sparkly, for lack of a better word, like a slightly more like modern, clean tone. It has that really canceled out parallel thing going on. But let's now check out this bad boy with some dirty tones, going through our little riff. Starting off in reverse, we got our position 1, so we got the JB all by itself. Just rock bridge humbucker, man. Like that just has such a rock and bridge humbucker tone, that good old JB. Once again, a lot of people think, because this is like the kind of typical like metal pickup complement that a lot of guitars have, the JB, and this has the 59, but the JB and jazz is the other kind of hot combination. And it's like, this bridge pickup, this JB, it is a really hot pickup, but it still has, you know, this like mid-range articulation, and still sounds like pretty darn clear, which is really nice. I really like how it sounds, especially for single note stuff, but also it's so thick. Up next, position 4. These two pickups once again, but a different complement of coils. Position 5, all by its lonesome self. Really different than the last two offerings. But that's kind of why I wanted to showcase it, because if you like the general aesthetic of what a Stratocaster is bringing to the table, especially if you like the comfort features, right? This has all of those beautiful comfort features, but while offering like a really different tonal solution with the two humbuckers. The last Stratocaster shaped object that we are going to be talking about or showing off today is It's like all of my guitars are my favorite guitars. It's hard to choose which one's it's hard to choose which one of your children's your favorite, right? They're all my babies, and I love them for different reasons, or I wouldn't own them, right? But this guitar in particular brings a big smile to my face, and I just want to reveal it so I can hold it up properly for y'all to see. And that is the Music Man. Let's see if we can get some focus on that headstock. The Music Man Luke 3 BFR, the Ball Family Reserve limited edition, in this wonderfully obnoxious sparkle kind of tobacco burst finish. I think they call it like shadow gold, but it's literally, you can see it is like really thick flake glitter, and it just looks so killer. And they were able to still do like a 3-tone sunburst with it. It's a gnarly finish. It's a gnarly finish. Signature Music Man 4-on-2. But yeah, one of the reasons why I especially wanted to bring this guitar out, handful of really important reasons, right? So, Music Man. Little history lesson for those of you who don't know. Leo Fender, the person who obviously invented Fender guitars, sold Fender to CBS in the 60s. He was under a non-compete for a really long time, but when he was under the non-compete, he started working secretly behind the scenes, and this company is literally what Leo Fender did after Fender. He went on, hooked up with the Ball family, and they were making these beautiful Music Man instruments. And it's like, this is a Strat. It's a Strat, man. Like, it's a Strat contoured body through and through. The horns, really, bevel. The tummy cuts. Yeah, this one has a little bit more of the nice access up top in the heel block. We don't have like a lot of contouring here, but we still got a nice cutaway heel over there. Trem system as well. And this is a Music Man designed and made trem, so it's like a proprietary bridge that just they make. And I really like this bridge. There's a couple of fun things that you can do with this bridge. But where this guitar really differs spec-wise, which makes it a bit of a unique thing, because even though this is a Stratocaster-shaped object, and that this company was, made by Leo Fender right after Fender, maybe think about that, Fender. What did your founder do immediately after leaving your company? He started another company that made Strats. And then what did he do after moving on from Music Man? He formed G&L, which is another company that made Strats. Anyways, but what makes this guitar really different than all the other Strat offerings with this specific Ball Family Reserve piece, which is why I feel good having it in my collection, like it's not super overkill with my other, HSS looking guitars, is this guitar is like really not trying to be a traditional 60s Strat at all, which is sick. So the body on this is actually our first body not made out of alder today. This is actually made out of an African mahogany, I believe. So it's a mahogany body, so it gives you a little bit more mid-forwardness already because of the mahogany instead of the alder. Yes, wood sounds different. Tone wood is a thing. If you don't believe it, I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise, but please don't try to convince me otherwise. I've been playing guitar my entire freaking life. I've played thousands of guitars. The wood that it's made out of and the way that it's put together makes a difference. Just like how our bodies make a difference in how we sound, bodies in an instrument make a different sound. Like, it just makes sense. And once again, if you don't, whatever. You can leave. You can leave. Tone wood's real. Tone wood's real. Fight me. Fight me in the Whole Foods. JK, we love Haley Williams. Haley, hire me. I'll be your guitar player. But so we shout out Haley Williams. We love Paramore, and we love God, that solo record's so freaking good. Now we got that mahogany body, which is sticking out, making this sound a little bit more kind of Les Paul-y. We got the hum single, just like the Sir guitar. Maple neck with a beautiful, beautiful roasted bird's eye. Ah, I love that roasted bird's eye so much. It's so purty. Matching headstock, the 4x2. Slab ebony board, just like the Jackson, but this is like a really, really true dark piece of ebony, where the other one is a bit on the streaky side. Controls, we have the 5-way again, and it is laid out exactly like the Sir from earlier. Position 1, bridge. Position 2, middle and the bridge together. Position 3, middle all by itself. Position 4, we got these two, and then position 1, we have the neck pickup all by itself. Single volume, single tone, but then we do have a little bit of a party trick on this guitar. Actually, no, it's not a party trick. It's actually a pretty sick, useful feature, especially while teaching, or if you're playing, like if you're going to like sit in on a gig, maybe just like jam a song or two, and you don't want to bring like your entire pedal board, but you can bring like a fairly cranked amp. This guitar has a push. Whoa. A push on the volume knob, because there is a battery in here. But don't worry, these are not active pickups. It just has a really gnarly built-in boost. And I think you can goose it up to like 20 dB of boost or something. I think I have this set up around like 12. So it's a pretty darn aggressive boost, but not as gnarly as it goes. But so you essentially have like a built-in overdrive with this. Like you kind of have what I like to set up almost like the 808 to do, just like push a ton of level through. So you're getting that nice level boost with the push on this guitar, which is really, really, really sick. But so let's get her plugged in, and we can hear some of these sound examples. Also, shout out to Locking Tuners. I realized literally 15 minutes before going live that this guitar had a broken B string on it, and so I completely restrung the guitar like 10-15 minutes before stream started. So I am going to be rechecking the tuning on this quite a bit, because the strings are still kind of settling in. So apologies if this one takes a little bit longer, or if the tuning gets a little bit whack at some point in time. So let's get our compressor on, our drive off, and we'll go through our clean tone examples, starting in position 5. So it is still this neck single coil all by itself, but quite a different sound because of the mahogany body and just the way that these pickups are constructed. So position 5. Really nice sounding position 5 on this. The neck is like super fat, really even sounding. It kind of is a little bit more akin to the Sir ML pickups, in my opinion. They're not as kind of like sparkly, glassy as the exotics are. But they're still pretty darn. Good guitar. Moving it on over to position 4. So we now have super traditional Strat, middle and neck pickup together. The Funk, the Corey Wong special, the Nile Rodgers special. nice, really spanky, nice and compressed. Moving on to the middle pickup all by itself, position 3. Mid-rangey and even. Position 2, our middle and our bridge together, just like the Sir. And then finally, the bridge pickup all by itself. And this is a pretty hot bridge. I want to say it's around maybe even a little bit more than the JB that's in the Jackson. But then the neck and middle is significantly lower than the Jackson. So just an interesting pair. But here is the bridge humbucker all by itself. Really hot, pretty darn compressed. Even with the compressor in the front end of the amp kind of taming things, you can hear the amp wanting. It's like it's starting to get kind of angry and pushed sounding. It's like it's starting to bubble up a little bit there. So now we got the Jan Ray going, and we'll be going in reverse, starting with position 1, bridge humbucker with some distortion. Position 1, that full bridge. Moving on to position 2, so we got the humbucker in conjunction with the middle pickup now. Nice and spanky, but that bridge pickup still kind of overpowering that middle coil a bit, and a good amount more aggression since we do have that hog body. Position 3, middle pickup by its lonesome self. That sounds nice. That sounds nice. I was wondering why it sounded a little bit too hot earlier, because that extra overdrive, that'll do it. Moving on to position 4, we got the neck and the middle honking together. Here we go. nice and clear, but once again, that little extra honkiness on the top end. Position 5, the good old neck coil all by its lonesome self. That sounds nice. And then, oh yeah, the last thing that I wanted to show with this guitar, which makes it a little bit unique and interesting versus your regular Fender Strat, it has this push-push boost knob on it, which I think I have it set to around 12 dB of gain, but you can boost it up to 20 if you want. It gets pretty gnarly. So let's do that sound example again, and we'll do it without the boost and then with the boost. So without the boost, and then with the boost on. Just pummeling the front end of the amp. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit subscribe, hit that bell. I am just about at the steps when I can start monetizing my YouTube channel. Super excited. So would really appreciate all the support in hitting that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified anytime we got an upload. Make sure to head on over to the Discord if you want to get any tabs and join in on the community and the general discussion with everything that we are doing here on the channel. Follow me on all of my social media platforms linked in the bio. And until next time, peace.